to our Neighborhood Watch Forum. My name is Kate Schamberg, and I'm the Neighborhood Watch liaison for the Eastport neighborhood. And anyway, before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that Alderman Ross Arnett is with us tonight. And so tonight we'll begin with Detective Kirchner and other members of the Annapolis Police Department to discuss the educational programs offered by the department and the status of our current Neighborhood Watch program and ways to improve its effectiveness in our neighborhood. And then we will have Maria Broadbent from the Department of Neighborhood Environmental Programs. Will follow speaking about public work concerns like abandoned buildings, lighting, and trash. And then concluding our forum will be the Chief of the Annapolis Police Department, Chief Priestoo, to discuss crime prevention and initiatives and statistics about past, current, and the future. Okay, and then at the very end, we'll wrap up with a brief question and answer period. Okay.
Well, good evening, and thank you for coming. As Gay said, I'm Sergeant Kirshner with the Annapolis Police Department. I've been with the agency for 16 years, and I'm currently in community services. And our goal is to try and educate the community on programs that we have, as well as how to make your home, business, vehicle safer. So I did bring some officers that work with me. Kim Hartlove is our alert grant coordinator, and she does a Watch Your Car program and a Watch Your Scooter program, as well as she does education on theft from auto, as in things being stolen from your car, and auto theft prevention. So if that's anything your street or your block or your community may be interested in, she has cards over on the table there. You can touch base with her. I have Officer Cisneros who is with me. And Officer Cisneros does residential as well as commercial surveys. It's basically CEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. He'll come out to your home or he'll come out to your business, and he helps, sometimes we've helped with new developments and kind of telling them how things they may build them to prevent crimes from happening. So that's something he does. I do have his card and information if you'd like a survey for your home or your business. Corporal Miguez is our public information officer, and she also runs education programs out of the police department. We do stranger danger for children. I have a whole list of stuff that we can offer for training, and certainly any topic you would like. And I do have two of our detectives here, Detective Hipsky and Detective Bielfeld. They kind of do crimes against persons, which would be a robbery, a rape, or an assault, and they also do crimes against property, burglary, fraud, internet cases, and such like that. So I guess since it's a little bit of a smaller group, I am from New York, so if I speak too fast, please slow me down. I have slowed down in the 16 years I have been here, according to my family, that is. But I do want to talk to you guys about Neighborhood Watch. And I think in the 80s and the 90s, it was a really strong program because we didn't have the means of communication that we do as a police department. So it was kind of like a special club that people got to join. It was like, oh, I get this special information from the police. Well, now with the change in technology, and we as police, we want to get that information out there as fast as we can. So what we do is Corporal Miguez would put it out on Media Blast, Twitter, Facebook, our daily police report, as well as the news media outlets we have. So that's been a little bit of the change in the Neighborhood Watch. But the basic core of Neighborhood Watch that we're trying to rebuild here in Eastport, as well as other communities, is getting to know your community and getting to know your neighbors and what behavior is normal and what behavior is not normal, so you can call us to report that. And there is a little cheat sheet kind of that I did. And it is over by the form. If you see, I should have brought the map up with me. What I did was I had one of our crime analysts. I took over the unit in 2010, and I kind of tried to figure out who was in Neighborhood Watch at the time. And I sent out some letters and emails. So currently, I think this is fairly accurate for the most part. The blue dots are members of Neighborhood Watch, and the red dots are the block captains. So you can go up and take a look at your map and say, hey, I may need to recruit some people on my street and see if they'd be interested in joining Neighborhood Watch. But what I have that I put up there is kind of a little cheat sheet about suspicious activity. And that's the biggest question that I get is, what is suspicious activity? And it is an activity that should not be occurring when it is occurring and where it is occurring. So if Corporal Miguez is my neighbor, and I know she drives a blue Ford, and all of a sudden I know she works from 8 to 4, and at noon a huge truck backs up to her driveway and starts opening the garage. It's someone I've never seen before, and they're in and out super fast. Hopefully I recognize that, I notice that, and that's suspicious because it's a behavior that is not normally occurring at that place or at that time. I spoke to a resident in a community a couple weeks ago, and she said, we live on a dead-end street and we don't get a lot of vehicle traffic down here other than the residents, and all of a sudden we've had, that's a call. That's what we want you to call us about, because it could be somebody checking vehicles, checking to see who's home, looking to see what the activity is on a street, and that's what our job is. We get paid to go out and investigate that, and a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to bother the police with that. It's somebody that's just driving down the street. But that could be somebody that's driving in a stolen car, looking to break into a house, and maybe you got a partial tag, and one of the detectives comes and says, oh, thank God we got that call, because now we have that information. So it's kind of vague, but if your gut tells you this isn't right, it's probably not right. So I kind of did a little cheat sheet. If it's an emergency, like somebody's being beat up, screaming, call 911. That's the easiest number to call. But the next number, if it's somebody selling drugs, or if it's somebody walking and looking into cars or just not right, call our non-emergency line. That is the 410-268-4141, and I wrote a lot of goodies in the back that have that phone number on it. So there's bags. If you're going to the grocery store, take one of those bags. That's the number we want to get out, and that's the number we want calls. And a lot of what I get, and I will tell you now, is, oh, when we call, the dispatcher asks us so many questions. And I'm going to defend them. That's because we as officers ask the dispatcher so many questions. But I'll give you an example as to why we ask so many questions. If I work this post, which is where we are now, the 15 post, I cover from the water down at lower end of Eastport to Hilltop Lane. So that's a fairly big area. I could be on foot or I could be in my vehicle. It's still a fairly large area. So if you call me for the Eastport Shopping Center, and I may be on a call on First Street, so I clear what I'm doing and I go to this call, and they're going to ask you for the most description. It's a guy, oh, it's a white guy with gray hair. Well, and they might direct you, well, what color shirt does he have on? What color pants? And that's because he may not be at the Eastport Shopping Center when I get in my car and drive. I might pass him at Chesapeake at the post office. And that's the reason we ask those questions. We're not asking those questions to keep you on the phone for an extended period of time. We're asking because we know that criminals travel or people travel, and that's why we ask you to give us as much detail as possible. Because people are like, oh, I called to the Eastport Shopping Center and the police didn't come. And sometimes it's a possibility we didn't come to the Eastport Shopping Center because we stopped the person at the post office, they were wanted, we ended up arresting them and driving them back to the station. If you ever feel that that's the case where an officer didn't respond, my card is there, please call me, and that's something I can tell you the outcome of a call. Our response time to emergencies is under 2 minutes, and our response time to a parking plate, the last one I looked, was 20 minutes. So we do have a very rapid response to calls, whether they're parking or certainly in progress. We have an under 2 minute response time to in progress. And so that should make you guys feel pretty safe. So that's kind of a little bit, I kind of touched on a whole bunch of different things, and there's a form to register for Neighborhood Watch over there. And then there's it's a Block Watch book, and I don't know, it's old. It was there when I got in the unit. But the information in this is very good. It basically tells you why you want to know your neighbors, things to look for. If it's a hatchback, but it's a red car, but I don't know what kind, but I noticed that it had a scuba sticker on it. That's a perfect thing to tell us, because then we might, hey, well, there's the red car with a scuba sticker on it. So it just gives you guys some pointers to look out for when you are noticing and or reporting suspicious activity. So that's kind of, I guess, my spiel for the most part. Yes?
Can I also advocate knowing your neighbors? I got a call at work on my cell phone, probably been about 4 months ago now, but one of my neighbors called me and said, I just saw a guy coming out of the back of your house. And wonderful to have a neighbor who had my cell number who just called me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing, and basically, so I can explain a little bit further on to the Neighborhood Watch and the block captains, currently in the Eastport Civic Association, which encompasses the area we're in now, I work with Gay, and I mainly coordinate back and forth with her we had a female down at the Royal Farms that was, I think, making some decent money off the residents over here. It was someone we were familiar with. She gets in the car, oh, I need to get a ride to my daughter, and then all of a sudden you get out, your wallet is gone, or you've given her $20, or something to that effect. So that's something that I don't need to send my whole entire email blast because it's been specific to something we have in Eastport. So what I do is I send that to Gay, and then she'll send out to that, we share our member list, and then she'll send that out. So, hey, well, maybe she's not really looking for a ride and she's not lost. This might be a con that's getting ready to go on. So that's kind of stuff that I share with her. Sometimes in our the area by the Bay Ridge and the Giant, if we have a crime that's occurring in Anne Arundel County, we're right on the border there with them, I might share that with the residents over there versus the residents down in lower end of Eastport. So that's what more the coordinator does. I reach out to them and I find out what the concerns are, and then I try and send them out to the community to make them more aware of what is going on currently. Yes?
I need to be added to that because I'm in Eastport and I cover a different area, although I am
Sure.
in Eastport.
Absolutely.
Because I've actually run into that lately.
Yeah,
And
okay.
almost literally.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, what Neighborhood Watch is. It's knowing your neighbors, knowing the activity that's going on in the area and what is, again, normal and what is not. We do host meetings at the police department bi-monthly. We try and keep the topics relevant to what's going on, fraud in certain communities, internet crimes, scams that we've seen going on. And I usually ask for input, and that is currently, because I've had to change, the second Wednesday of the month. So our next meeting will actually be December. I don't know what I want to say 11th, but I don't know off the top of my head. So, but if you would like training for specific to your community, say you have, you know, a mom and me group and you want a stranger danger or a cyberbullying, we offer any of that kind of training. My card's back there. Certainly feel free to touch base with me. So I hope I kind of covered Neighborhood Watch, why we want to join, suspicious activity, and I know we're going to do some question and answer, but I will. Oh, yeah, sure.
David, I was just going to
No,
say,
that's okay.
well, on my street, I live on Jackson Street, there are some houses where I never see anybody enter or exit. I've wondered, how do I get to know those people?
Leave them alone.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween is when I get to know my neighbors. One day you can feel free to go up and, you know, everybody's hanging
Yeah,
outside and say
I
hi.
work on
You go trick or
Halloween
treating?
night.
No, but I go say to hi to all my neighbors that I don't know. Sometimes they give me candy. Sometimes it's a beverage, some other
Yeah,
kind.
but just if you're out or if you're doing anything,
I'm
you do,
always out. I
and
walk
they could be
constantly.
houses
They're never-
that, sure, it could
I
be.
think there are old ladies living in there.
Okay, and that's certainly, yeah.
Anyway, I
If
know.
you think for some reason they're abandoned, let us know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that,
I don't
and I
think
know
they're abandoned.
Maria's gonna speak, okay.
I have a suggestion because I had some similar situations in my neighborhood. I had some elderly people and I didn't know them. Nobody else seemed to know who they were. So I put a note on the door. I went up and knocked on the door and introduced myself, got their information, told them that if they ever had any questions or needed any help, give me a call. And that was before I ever got involved in Neighborhood Watch. And then the rest of us started keeping an eye on them
Sure,
in
sure.
case they needed something.
Yeah, and that's definitely, certainly a possibility if you felt comfortable going up and just introducing yourself.
Are you also looking for more liaisons and block captains? Meaning, I heard one volunteer to potentially be a coordinator or liaison for the Parkwood area.
I already am.
Right, and so make it formal, you know.
It is.
So, because right now we have Gay, but we think that having maybe, you know, two
Absolutely.
more people in different areas of Eastport would be great.
Yeah, oh, certainly, absolutely.
The problem is they don't think I live in Eastport because I'm not on the peninsula. I'm up
Who's-
on Bay
who's
Ridge. They, Eastport Ricans.
Well,
We know where you
See?
live.
we're all
make sure
here,
that-
we're all here in Eastport, and
I know.
that's what we're
But
saying
I don't
is,
belong to the Civic Association.
that's okay, but
I've never been
we're
opposed.
just here trying to get more people to be
Yeah,
coordinators
absolutely.
and liaisons from different areas.
Yeah, certainly. If anybody is interested in being a liaison with us, or if you know someone that is, certainly take my card, and what I'll do is then Gay and I will meet with you, or whoever the person would be separately, and say, hey, how about if you had this as an area of concern, and then she had lower end of Eastport, and then there was another side, just because sometimes there are certain things going on in certain areas that certainly to have liaisons in this large of an area